Welcome to the Over 40 Alpha Podcast with your host, Funk Roberts.
We are live, and welcome to the Over 40 Alpha Podcast. This is episode number 172. I'm your host, Funk Roberts, former professional athlete turned online fitness expert, or just regular health and fitness expert for men in their 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and beyond. And if this is the first time you're listening to this podcast, first and foremost, even if it's the second or third or 100th time, thank you so much for being here. But this podcast is for you, the man in your 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, where we talk about nutrition, we talk about workouts, we talk about how to naturally increase your testosterone, we talk about mindset, we talk about recovery, both mental and physical, we talk about sleep, we talk about chronic health issues. And today we are talking about how to be a formidable family man. In fact, how to lead with purpose, how to build a legacy, and how to do that through showing up day after day, being present day after day, and being the man that you need to be for your family, for your community, and most importantly, for yourself. And today we're going to do that with my guest, Greg Denning. Man, this is guys, this is one of those episodes where you have to listen to this episode completely. This is an incredible story because Greg went from homelessness. And now he is a high performance coach, coaching high-performing men, but men in general, family men, leader of men, helping them to show up, right? Helping them to become formidable family men. Because a lot of times as we get older, we start to feel inadequate as a husband, inadequate as a father, inadequate as a man, right? We're struggling with our health. We're struggling with our fitness. We're struggling with our finances. We may even be struggling with our family. And sure, we may read a book here and there, or sure, we may listen to a podcast episode here and there, but are we showing up? Are we implementing? Are we getting out of our comfort zone? Are we asking for help? We don't want to be mediocre. You do not want to be mediocre, brother. I know you don't. Right? Now, more than ever, your family, the people around you, needs you to be the best version of yourself. And so on this podcast, Greg is going to talk about that, right? Why most men are struggling and how to get out of that. Right? This guy, like I taught, homeless, this guy has 7 kids, right? Amazing, beautiful wife. They've got incredible, relationship. They travel, he's gone to 60 countries. So traveling with his kids, right? He literally lives his life on a mission of helping and building strong men that step up and show up every single day. So if you're a husband, a father, a grandfather, a leader, a provider, I mean, that's who we need to be. And so this episode is going to give you a lot. This is an amazing episode. You do not want to miss out on this. It's episodes like this, when you continue to listen to it, it's going to continue to help you to get that much closer to implementing a lot of these things. Because sometimes we listen a lot, but we don't implement. It's the more we listen, the more books that we read, the more that we listen to these types of podcasts over and over again, or read books over and over again, the more we get closer to implementing these more and more until it just becomes automatic. Sometimes we need inspiration. Sometimes we need motivation. Sometimes we need clarity. And I believe this is definitely going to give you all that and more. Greg's awesome. We just became great friends. And I'm so excited to bring this to you guys. I'm always excited to bring these powerful, good men who are doing the things that we need as men so that we can show our kids and grandchildren how to live as men. We're struggling, but we don't have to. And that's the best message I can give you. You do not have to struggle. Welcome to today's podcast. I'm really excited today, but let me ask you a question. What does it mean to lead as a man today? Like as a father, as a husband, as a brother, as a pillar in your community. Specifically in the battle of life, right? So today I'm excited because I have a guest, Greg Denning. He went from hardship and homelessness to becoming a global high performance coach. He's a family man. He's a leader of men. This guy's raising 7 kids, but not just raising 7 kids. He's traveled to over 60 countries, countries lives a mission-driven life built on strength, built on vision, built on action, built on helping men become formidable men. So I'm excited today. This episode is about showing up and stepping into your role as a man. Welcome everybody, Greg Denny. Greg, thank you so much for being on this podcast.
Brother, I'm so excited. And that's a great way to start this conversation, man.
It's
We've
it,
got to show up.
Yeah, no doubt, every day. But let's start off. Let's start off with your origin story because I read that at 16 you were on your own, you were homeless, and now like I mentioned, you're a father of 7. You're a world traveler. You and your wife like have an incredible relationship, and you're coaching high performance men. So how did it go from homeless to where you are today?
Yeah, brother. We do. We get to live the most extraordinary, unique dream life. As we started our marriage, and we didn't start like this. We started our marriage and never dreamed we'd be doing what we're doing now. But our life is genuinely extraordinary. It's awesome, but it started tough. My parents, they did the best they could, and I love them. They divorced really when I was really young. Stepdads came and went, several stepdads. And unfortunately, none of them really stepped up and led like men. None of them gave me the role model and the example I needed, or the manliness that I needed to see modeled. And I ended up leaving home at 16 and said, I'll just try to figure this out. And those were brutal years. Man, they were tough. Looking back now, I'm grateful for them. But in the moment, I was like, this is a suck sandwich without the bread, man. It was bad. And the loneliness, the fear, brother, the desperation, the discouragement, the hopelessness. I remember just having these mindsets of like, I'll always be poor. Will I ever be loved? Am I always going to be lonely? Just so discouraged and living with in such poverty and bad conditions and bad areas that looking around that people were a lot older than me. I'm like, man, am I going to be here my whole life? This is brutal. And eventually the desperation, kind of the hatred of my circumstances drove me to seek for the secrets to success and happiness. Like, man, if it's possible, I'm going to find out how to do it.
Yes. Okay. So let's go back. Where did you grow up? Like where were you homeless?
So this was in Dallas, Texas.
Okay.
Brother, this is a crazy story. I actually got on a Greyhound bus with my older brother, and we took a Greyhound bus from Dallas, Texas to Lake Placid, New York.
Ooh.
Right? It was crazy. It was wild. And we got up there because I was 16. I tried to go register for high school, and they're like, you have to have a parent. I'm like, I don't have my parents, man. Let's let me in. They're like, no, we won't take you.
Why did you go to Lake Placid?
Because my brother had this crazy dream of like ski jumping in the Olympics, and they had the ski jumping up there. So we're like, let's just go for it. But man, the things we saw and experienced, it was wild. I ended up calling a friend, and he drove up. We drove all the way back to Texas, and I worked on a kind of a ranch out there for a while. Did some high school stuff, and then caught a ride with this couple that was moving out west, and so I went out west, and I was just trying to figure out how to earn money, how to finish high school. And there was here's what's amazing, brother, that's so important is along my path there were really nice people who noticed and just stepped in and like, hey, you can do this, or hey, here's a box of food. I know you're struggling, or set an example here and there. I was getting little nuggets, little pieces, little glimpses of hope. And I think that's what kept me saying, there is a different level possible. And so, man, for everybody listening, I feel like we have a moral obligation. I know I do, to set an example and to remind ourselves people are watching, people are noticing, and we can be that source of hope. We can be the role model and say, this is possible. Life isn't just suffering. Like there's some real strategies here that we can achieve amazing things.
Wow. Yeah. I mean, the people are always watching is something that I always say. I say that to my son. I say that to Angela. But a lot of times when I'm, talking to the guys, it's like your kids are always watching you, man. It's not about what you say. It's about what you do or what you don't do. So you're traveling. So now you went west. Did you go to did you go to LA West, or did you go to just west to Texas. And
So
what happened
we
in your life
actually,
between 20 and 30? Like what was going on between 20 and 30? Because there's a
yeah,
lot
so
of learning that happened during that time.
tons, man.
Yeah.
This
So
is awesome.
give
So
us some
like
stories, man. Let's go.
16, 17, 18, just trying to find food, man. Just remember being excited to have enough to buy a little 25-cent package of ramen noodles. Eating straight like out of a can of pork and beans. It was so disgusting. Nobody would buy them, so they were cheap, and I just spoon it out and that's what I had to eat. I started hitting the weight room, brother. That's where I became addicted to lifting weights. Little did I know that was my therapy, man. It was pure therapy. And so I was going down to the Boys and Girls Club, the local gyms downtown where it's rough. And I was boxing and kickboxing and lifting weights. And I was spending hours in the weight room because I was like, no, this is where I feel like I didn't know it, but I was letting out all my anger and frustration. And I found something really positive to get into. That's where I got in with my just love, absolute love, and the habit of taking care of my body, right? Making that be my vehicle. And because I was working out, and I was strong, this really wealthy girl at this high school. So my high school had a really, really poor area where I was living and a really wealthy area where she was living. And she approached me one day. She's like, you're big and strong. She's like, can I pay you to help me train to be a cheerleader at the university? And I was like, oh, hold up, you're gonna pay me to like throw you in the air? I'm like, where do I sign up? Let's
Right?
go. So this was back in the day, bro. She was paying me like $15 an hour. I thought I had just won the lottery, man. It was amazing. And so we just practiced and practiced, and I loved it because it was challenging. I like lifting, doing all these cool stunts and acrobatics and things. And she's like, I'll pay you to come to the tryouts too. And so I was like, great. I need the money. I'm hurting.
Yeah.
And so we went down there and I went to the tryouts and stuff, and they offered me a full ride scholarship.
What?
Yeah. I was like, and unfortunately she didn't make the team,
Oh God.
but they offered me a scholarship, and I'm like, hold up, you're going to pay for all my tuition and my housing and my food.
Right.
I'm in.
That's
And so I was into university, man.
So you did
cheerleader
cheerleader at the University of Tech. Which?
No, this was so actually that was in that case I ended up in Utah. This
Utah,
couple was moving up to Utah, and they were just moving up there. I met them, and I was like, hey, I'll take a ride. And so I had one box. Bro. And I was like, come put my box in your moving truck. And they moved up there. So then this girl hired me, and it was the University of Utah. And so I went my first year to the University of Utah. And then I, of course, fell in love with the mountains. I started mountain biking and snowboarding, playing hard in the mountains. And anyway, it was a challenging time. I was still really shy. So I guess this is important. Because if I can do it, anyone can do it. I was really shy. I was really insecure, like deeply insecure. I could not look another person in the eyes when they were talking to me. I just was looking down, and people would tell me this. They'd be like, hey, you got to look people in the eyes when they're talking to you. I'd look up and be like, oh man, I can't do that. And then, so when I got offered this opportunity to cover my costs, because I didn't think I'd be able to go to university. I mean, I didn't have that kind of money. And so I'm like, man, I can do this. But it meant I had to be out performing in front of tens of thousands of people. And it literally forced me way out of my comfort zone to face my insecurities and do things that I was really uncomfortable doing. That is such a critical principle for all of us.
Oh, for sure. Did you know that was happening? Like, because you were kind of like, you're shy, and I don't know if that was because of your circumstances, right? Like some people go one way, some people get like super, super gangster and hard, and let's go to that side of the track, specifically if they're homeless and they don't have any tribe or anybody to kind of, cling to. The other side is what you did. You and your brother, you traveled, you went to all these different places, these people reached out and you took the hand, which is amazing. But like, did you even know that, like, when you were performing in front of everybody, that you were actually overcoming like an insecurity and a hurdle? Or are you looking back now going, oh man?
Nah, definitely looking back, in the moment, I was like, this is really uncomfortable.
Right?
But like, they're paying for my school. This is my chance. Like, and part of that time, I actually was sleeping in this old beat up pickup truck that somebody had given me a cheap price on. And I was cramped in the cab of this old pickup truck, or sleep in it. Some random guy's like, oh, you can come sleep on my living room floor. And I remember one night, like, this is actually pretty special. Like I had no food, man. And I met this buddy, Scott. He's a great human. And he was having a tough time. So we ended up, this guy's like, hey, you guys can come sleep on our living room floor. So it's two big dudes sleeping on this living room floor. And he had one Lynn Wilson burrito, a little microwave burrito.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm just going to bed hungry. And he went in. And I remember thinking like, dude, he's so lucky. He's got a burrito. And of course, that guy walked back in, cut that little burrito in half. He's like, here, man, let's share this burrito.
That's awesome.
And crazy. I was 19 years old and sharing a burrito, one little burrito, two big dudes. We worked out all the time together, and it was wild, man.
Yeah, it's funny how people always, a lot of times people focus on the negative, but there's so many good people out there, right? Like there's so many good people who want to help. And the fact that that happened is incredible. So now let's talk about your 20s, because when did you meet your wife? When did that happen?
Yeah, I was 23 years old. And so between really at 18, man. So, okay, let me back up a little bit.
Yeah.
I was so desperate. I started searching for the secrets, searching for answers. So I started reading like crazy, anything I get my hands on. And those great books also became my mentors. And I ended up reading some stories from World War II and survivors, and they became my coaches, my mentors. And I remember thinking when things were hard, reading about their stories in the concentration camp. And I thought, man, if they can do that, I can do this. That juxtaposition, that perspective change, it just totally altered my paradigm. Like that, I thought my life was hard. That's crazy hard. Like I can do this. And then somebody handed me a copy of How to Win Friends and Influence People because I needed it. And The Power of Positive Thinking by Norman Vincent Peale. And all these great books, As a Man Thinketh, and these great books started coming in my life. And I'm like, I'm going to devour every one of them. So by the time I hit 18, I was on fire. I'm reading like crazy. I'm starting to implement morning routines. I'm starting to, put these practices in place. I'm spending more time with God, really praying and trying to, be a better human being, because I realized two major things I realized that were so important. One, I had to stop playing the victim. Yes, other people had made choices that affected my life, but at some point I had to draw a line in the sand, step across and say, my life will be what I make of it. Done. Hard stop. Like from here on out, it's on me. I got to stop playing the victim by blaming other people and blaming my circumstances. That was number one. And number two, this one was the hardest part, but the most important. I realized that nothing in my life would get better until I got better. And that just changed everything for me. It's like as soon as I make an improvement in myself, my life starts getting better. I might start having friendships and relationships and getting jobs and better paying jobs because I'm being a better person. Like I love this stuff. And that started my passion and drive for seeking perpetual improvement. Like this quest to make the most of myself.
Yeah, it's like this circle. I find that men who struggle, which is lots of men who struggle, it's those two things. Like they'll play the victim, blame it on everybody else, right? Mm-hmm. But then they'll wake up and say, okay, I'm going to start implementing these things, and they start implementing these things, and life does start getting better. May not be as fast as they want it, but little things start to get better. But then something triggers, something happens in their life where they go back to that victim, card, because I think that's comfort, right? And I think so what happens is they go right back to the victim card, even though they know that when things are better. It's like when guys are in my program, this is a 3-year program. So like after the first year, how many times do I see guys who like are gone? It's like, hey, where did so-and-so go? He hasn't been in the Facebook group for months. And then 5 months later, so-and-so's back, a little bit out of shape because he hasn't been training because something happened in his life. But that first year when he became an alpha OG, dude, like 6-pack abs, lost 100 pounds. He's like in the best shape. He's got all these great things happening, but then something happens and he leaves. And it seems like, and I don't know if it's the victim. It may not be the victim part of it, but it is what it is. I mean, that's really what's holding us back is like, if you know that if you do these things, as uncomfortable as they are, your life's going to get better. But why do we keep going back to that victimhood, or why do we keep going back to that comfort zone that keeps us from growing?
Man, I've thought about that so much. And I think like very surface level thinking, it seems like it'll be easier. like if I just pass off responsibility and ownership of this, it, again, it's so superficial. It's like, oh, that'll be easier to avoid responsibility. The truth is, it actually makes it way harder. Like, you think it's hard to become educated? Try being ignorant.
Mm.
You think it's hard to be healthy? Try being unhealthy. That's brutal. You think it's hard to become wealthy? Try being poor. Like, that's where the real struggle is and the real pain. So the sooner we lean into the discomfort, like you said, and say, I'm going to own this. I'm going to own every bit of it. I'm the king in my kingdom. I'm taking responsibility for every bit of this. Yes, it's hard, but a little hard now is amazing because it actually makes life easier and better going forward.
Yeah, I agree 100%. Man, you couldn't have said that any better. Couldn't have said that the king of the kingdom, baby. That's what we have to be. Okay, so your wife. Let's get to your 20. How old are you right now, by the way? How old are you?
So 47.
47. Okay,
yeah.
So you meet your wife when you're 23. Talk us through that. What?
Yeah, I want to tell one quick story before that, because as you're sitting here asking these great questions and leading me back through this story,
Okay.
I had a crazy temper, and I think a lot of gentlemen listening can relate to this. Like, I was angry, brother, and I feel like, as I told myself, I had every right to be angry. I had a tough life. Things were hard. People took advantage of me. I'd suffered some things. Others had done things poorly that affected me. And then plus everyone told me, you're red hair. So of course you have the redheaded temper. And I believe that crap. I don't know what hair color has to do with anger issues, but I believed it.
My wife
They're playing the victim. And so I was angry. I fought a lot, got a lot of fights, would break things, punching walls, and punched a wall one time and broke my hand. And I would just get really angry. And luckily, I can't remember, 2021, I realized, man, if I don't get control of this, it will control me for the rest of my life, and guaranteed this will wreck my marriage and my life. And because I had been so lonely, the one thing I wanted more than anything else was a great marriage and a great relationship with my kids. I wanted a family, brother. Oh man, I wanted a family. And so I went through the hard work and the inner work of saying, I'm done. I'm done getting upset over small things. And I told myself, only small men get bothered by small things. I'm not going to be a small man. And I let go of all that stuff and I dropped it there. It was a Sunday night. I just dropped it. No more. It's not going to be a part of my life anymore. And I kept that commitment, and cold turkey just changed. I became a new man. So by the time I met Rachel a couple years after that, I was in such a better place that she would even be attracted to me, that I even had a chance, right? Which is so powerful. And I started making a list. This is cool. I started making a list at 16 of the qualities I wanted in my wife and in my marriage. And I kept that with me, and I kept adding to it as I saw couples do things poorly, and I said, don't do that. I saw couples doing things well. Man, I want to do that. And I started having a noble aim, right? I had a target, I had a vision of where I wanted to go. And so when I met her, our first kind of date was like me secretly doing the interview of asking all the questions, like, where's this girl measure up? And it was amazing. So we started dating, and we were married within 3 months, man.
Really?
Which is wild. I don't recommend that, but we just knew. We just knew, and we were in, and it's been 20. We just celebrated our 24th anniversary.
Congratulations, man! Yeah, that's incredible. The fact that you had all of that, like the self-awareness to know, first of all, at 16, that that you wanted a family, right? And probably because of the broken family you came from, I'm sure that definitely added to it. It's not really surprising that you had anger issues. My wife's a redhead, so I know she doesn't get angry at me, but she no one messes with Angela. Nobody messes with Angela. But yeah, the anger, I'm sure, like, I know that a lot of this conversation so far has been like people helping, but you haven't really dove into like some of the, like, I mean, if you're 16 years old, 17 years old, 18 years old on your own, I'm sure you went down a lot of, a lot of shit had happened to you, people treating you, mistreating you, all of that stuff, which totally understand the anger portion of it. But to have that self-awareness to be like, I can't be angry anymore, I'm done. Because I also, when I was younger, fought a lot. Like I was a professional athlete, and outside of my training and playing, dude, I used to fight all the time, like unbelievable. And then yeah. So I know that kind of mindset of just like, oh, I'm gonna beat the shit out of this guy. But after a while, just like, oh, I can't be like this anymore. Like, that was like 25 years ago, almost 30 years ago. But the fact that you had that at such a young age is unbelievable. Like to be able to just drop that, because I know there's men now, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, that can't drop that.
Right.
You know what I mean? That struggle.
I saw that. I saw a man in his 60s just absolutely come unglued. And I remember thinking, how is this man? He's a fully grown man. He's been on this earth for 6 decades and ranting and raving like a lunatic. I think that was a wake-up call for me. Like, am I just going to go through life and end up like that? Like, no way. I don't want to go down that road.
Yeah.
It was good. Yeah, it was good. I mean, I give credit to God for kind of opening my eyes and say, like, I don't want that.
Yeah.
You know what it is, brother? Is because I wanted something so desperately. So I'll say that for the people listening. Like, you have to want something special, something important, and want it so much that anything that gets in the way goes. Anything.
Yeah.
Any addiction, any mindset, any blockage, any fears, they got to be faced and overcome.
Yeah, that's the difficult part, but yes, definitely that's what we have to do. Okay, so now you get married. You two are married in 3 months. You're still married, so that's awesome. And now you start. Where did the kids come? I'm just trying to take the journey here. So now you are kind of like married now, right? So what does that like? Because are you even working? Have you been working for the last
Yeah, man.
3 years?
Bro, I was
now
like,
you're married.
I'm working 2 or 3 or 4 jobs. I was in this world of I didn't know any better because I didn't know anybody that owned a business or was an entrepreneur. So the only equation I knew was get a job, get money. If you want more money, get another job and then another job. And so I was working 2 or 3 jobs and barely just getting by. And the thought of having somebody depend on me, now a family, it was terrifying. It was terrifying. I remember feeling sick and like how am I going to provide for these people? It was a motivator. And I was still trying to push my way through university. I was able to graduate. And then I picked teaching as a career. I mean, I love teaching. I love mentoring, but bro, there's no money. There's no money. So we get married. I'm milking cows at 3:30 in the morning just to supplement this teeny little income. And we wanted to have a family right away, right? I was like, I love kids, and I'm like, do this. And my wife didn't get pregnant immediately, so we're like, let's adopt. And so we adopted our oldest daughter when she was 5 days old, and that started our family. And my wife got pregnant immediately after, of course, and so then having the babies, and it was wild, it was crazy, it was amazing, it was exhausting. With all these little kids, but I loved every minute of it, brother. Every minute of it.
So are you living in Utah at this point?
Yeah, we stayed in Utah.
So you're in Utah, you're having kids, you're not living on a farm, but you worked on a farm.
We worked this little farming community, and there was a little dairy down the road.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now you're working, you've got a few jobs, your kids are coming, but I mean, what's life at home like? What's the relationship like? Like, for those guys who are new fathers, because we have a lot of, once guys in their 40s, body starts to change, health starts to change, all of a sudden their virility starts to, open up. And next thing you know, it's like, oh, my wife's pregnant. Like, oh God, I got to do this again. Right. Like new fathers, fathers with younger, kids. What was going on juggling family and juggling all that stuff at the same time?
Yeah. So I think it goes back to like the very way you started this podcast today, like how we have to show up and lead. And I think presence, like being fully present, is one of the most important things we can do. Like nothing can make up for presence.
Mm.
And that's not just being physically there. A lot of us, we're physically there, but if we're checked out mentally or emotionally, we're on our phones, we're watching the game or whatever, then we're not truly there. And yeah, we're in the room, but it's not the same. And the kids know it and we know it. And because of the experiences I'd had, the negative experiences, man, I was committed. I was all in. And I kept paying attention. I'm like, what's important to my kids? How do I make sure they have an unbelievable life that I didn't? Like, how do I give them everything? And right from the get-go, I'm like, you know what? As much as I crazy love sports, like crazy love sports, and I actually ended up playing some football at the collegiate level, and I mean, I got into all the stuff. I love it. It's crazy. I decided I'm not going to watch TV. I'm not going to watch sports. I'll play sports, but I will not watch sports. And so my wife and I were just like, yeah, let's not have a TV. And of course, smartphones didn't exist yet.
No.
So it was just us, like fully present with the kids. And had the toddlers, and it was diapers and messes and craziness. And I loved it. I was all in. And to the guys who are facing the little ones, and it's exhausting, man. You don't sleep well. And of course, the kids always come in, they crawl in bed, and then they turn sideways, and they punch one of you, and they kick the other one. And you're just like, you just got to love it. Like, you can get angry about it, and you can resent it and be mad, or you can laugh at it and be like, okay, that's funny. And it's not funny, but it's funny because I'm going to laugh because I don't go crazy. And we had 4. So my wife got pregnant really quickly 3 times in a row. We figured out how to get it to work. And so we had 4 kids because we adopted 2. So right. Our oldest was still 4 when our 4th child was born.
Oh, wow.
So we had 4 kids right packed together. Man, we were in the middle of it. It was wild. And I loved it. And my wife loved it. And we had all these babies, and like, I had people. I knew I wouldn't be alone anymore.
Right.
And my heart was just overflowing with love for my wife, for the kids. And I was committed. I was like, I'm going to do what I have to do. I'm going to have to, not just provide financially. I'm going to provide mentally, emotionally, spiritually, socially, all of it. I'm going to be here, and I'm going to lead these kids to really live and become superb human beings. So it was amazing.
How old are your kids now?
So our oldest is 22.
What?
And she's married. She just celebrated her anniversary.
Oh my God.
And then our youngest now is 8.
So from 22 to 8 and everything in between. Yeah. How many teens?
Yep.
You got 3 teens. So you got 4 teenagers. You got 22, 21, 20, 19.
Yeah,
is that correct?
Let's see.
Based on what you said?
Yep. So 22, 21, almost 20. Yep. So he's 19 and then 18. So I got 2, and then I got a 14. So I have 3 teenagers in the home right now. And then I have 2 little girls at the end. They're 11 and 8.
And what is your relationship with them like now? And as a father, are you proud of what you've done so far with those kids?
Yes. And we have, and the fruit of this. So my wife and I, we do a lot of parenting courses and classes, and we get to speak and present on this. We just love it. And we take it so seriously. And the proof is the relationship with your kids, especially when they become teenagers and young adults. Like, that's when it really shows up. And I want to share this because it's insanely valuable. I share with my clients, but I learned it myself. As our kids come into the teen years and the young adult years, they obviously change, and they start to create this independence, which we want them to do. So they're not living in your basement at 30, right? We're like, you got to grow up, but they start looking at you differently. And I want everyone to listen up here, 40, 50, got to listen up. My observation is the only way we keep having influence and deep connection with our kids and earning their respect is if we keep leveling up. Let that hit home. If I level off instead of level up, teens and young adults naturally start looking over and then start looking down. And a lot of guys get like, oh, I worked hard, I earned this. And we start leveling off at 40 and 50. And our kids are just on fire going, and we just get that distance and that lack of respect. And so they stop turning to us. They stop coming back to ask questions and share things. And they start looking somewhere else. I thought, man, I want a phenomenal relationship with my children. So I'm going to keep leveling up. I'm going to keep pushing.
You could not, Greg, you could not have said that again. Anybody, there's so much value in this. I found that with my 28-year-old Cassian. Because we connect all the time, as he's going through now. He's got a girl and he's, moving through his career and moving up the ladder much faster than he ever thought, just because of the work ethic. I sent him off to Thailand for 6 months to train Muay Thai, because he was lost at one point. And I said, you know what? You're going to Thailand. I'm literally, Angela, we're sending you to Thailand. You're going to Muay Thai for 6 months at a Muay Thai gym, training twice a day, 5 out, just getting beat up by Muay Thai fighters. And it was the greatest thing ever. He had so many ups and downs and struggles as we was there. We talked every day. But when he came back, he was a completely different person, completely different in how he just sees the world and able to manage with people. But when you said one thing about leveling up, he always, even when I talk to him, every time I talk to him, so how's school? How's school? How's Harvard? How's Harvard? He always asks me that question. How is it? How is it? When are you going to be done? How is it? Because he's seeing me at 56 leveling up. And I learned that from my parents, because my parents were high level athletes and people, and they never said a word to me. They just did. They just did. They said stuff to me, but I just saw from example. And now, I talk to my mom every day. It's that's what we do. I take care of my dad now when he has issues. And when you said that, if we continue to level up at 50, 60, 70, whatever, man, that relationship continues to grow stronger and stronger. We never lose that relationship. We never lose that, that purpose. Because sometimes we lose the purpose. Oh, kids are out of the house. Now what? No, not now what? You're still the king of the kingdom, man. You can sent your son off or your daughter off, but you still need to be the person they turn to for the guidance whenever they do, or you know what I mean? And that means that you have to be on top of your game. Like you say, you got to show up. Man, that's incredible. Incredible.
And it's worth every effort, gentlemen. It is worth every effort.
Let me ask you a question. What about grandparents? So let's say that your son or daughter isn't the greatest to their kids, or they're just not there in their lives, but now they have kids. And now you're a grandfather who's leveled up, who's, formidable man, who's okay, I remember struggling and I may not have done well with these kids, but I want to show up for my grandkids. What are your thoughts on that? Because we do have a lot of grandfathers who are
Oh, wonderful. Good. My wife and I actually, and this might sound strange, but my wife and I think about and talk about our grandchildren and great grandchildren all the time. We don't have any grandkids yet, because I started leaning into this. I really started getting deep. I'm like, no, we're creating a new legacy. Because my wife and I both came from different families. We're going to put an end to some things. We're going to carry on others. But we are going to be very deliberate about our family legacy. This is going to outlive us, and we're going to do things well. So yeah, I have zero intention, brother, of ever leveling off. I'm just going to keep learning and growing and improving myself, refining until the day I'm done on this earth, and keep pushing. So, of course, I want to have, and influence is always earned. I guess I have to keep emphasizing that. Influence is always earned. It's never episodic, meaning it happens in one episode, and it's never automatic. I paid the bills and I put you through school and I fed you forever. That means nothing. Influence is earned. So if I want to have influence with my kids and grandkids, I earn it. And I earn it by being the very best version of myself. So am I going to have influence? Yeah, 100%, because I'm going to do everything I can to earn it. I will say this though. One of the absolute secrets to succeeding in life that I found through all my journeys and my studying and working with thousands of people across 5 continents, one of the very best things we can do in life is attack small problems when they're small. Pay attention sooner. Too many of us operate in our own self-sabotage by letting problems grow and get big. And you're like, man, you had a chance to kill that monster when it was tiny, when you could have stepped on it like a bug. And now it's huge and it's trying to take over your whole life. And that's a real battle. So even when you're saying, like, if I notice my kids like starting to drift off, like, boom, I'm going to intervene with so much influence and love and coaching, and like, I'm not going to force anything, but I'm going to lead. And so I'm never, it's something that's within my circle of influence. Like, I'm all over it. I do not let small problems become big problems.
That's incredible value there. Okay, so let's change gears a bit, because you coach men, right? You coach men on building resilience and mental toughness. What does mental toughness look like? Specifically, if you've got family, you got health, maybe you got health issues, you got your finances, you're trying to figure that out. I live in Canada, but North America in its own, there's a tough time economically right now for a lot of people, so what does that look like in regards to mental resilience or mental toughness? How do you coach that?
When you stop and start thinking about what it means to be like a family man, especially, but even just a man, what does it mean to be a man? You immediately realize, like, we have a lot of roles. And I think sometimes we want to oversimplify it and say, well, you're just a man, or you're just a husband or a father, or you're just, whatever your career is, you're just an attorney, or you're just a plumber. It's like, no, we're so much more complex than that. So if you break it down, I started doing this. I'm like, I want to help men. Well, I did it for myself. I was solving my own problem, right? I was my own first problem
Right.
and coaching client. I was like, man, I got a mess here. I got to clean this up. And so I start working on it. I'm like, oh, well, I have my body. I got to take care of that, but I have to take care of my mind, and I have to take care of my spirit. And now I got to help with my wife and all the roles there, right? I have to be a world-class listener. I have to be a lover. I have to be a best friend. I have to be support then for each of my children, and then, for my clients, or, if you're a medical practitioner, for your patients, and then taking care of your things, your investments, your cars, your house. You have all these things. So the uncomfortable truth is, we have to become really good at several things. Not tons of things, but there are several things we have to become really good at. Now, if we don't keep that mental resilience, the mental clarity, the mental toughness in place, if we don't take care of the mind, then immediately, man, it's overwhelm. It's fear, anxiety, depression, hopelessness, the desperation. And I've been there. It terrified me, and I was wrecked. My own insecurities and fears. I was a prisoner. And there's no way I'm showing up in each of my important roles and leading like a king and carrying the load like a man if I don't keep my mental fortress solid. So, and I'll tell you this, like I was mentally, I was probably the weakest of the weakest. and I realized it, and then I'd read something and be like, yo, that's awesome. I want to think like that. I want to be like that. I keep hiding behind my fears. I keep just collapsing under my own insecurities. Right? And my thinking was so weak. My thinking patterns and my habits were so weak. So I came across this book by James Allen called As a Man Thinketh. It's one of my all-time favorite books. It's just a really small book. And I read it. I was like, this is it. I have to think like this guy. And so, I was on fire for a couple weeks, and then it faded away. A couple weeks later, I'm like, back to my old thinking. So I'm like, I'm going to read it again. And so I went like that for a while, reading it every few weeks. And I'm like, man, when am I going to fix this crap? So finally, I'm like, I'm done. I realized when I read from that book, I thought better that day. So I said, okay, I'm going to read a couple pages from this book every single day until it becomes a part of me. And so I didn't miss for over 2 years, every single day, from that book and from How to Win Friends and Influence People. Because, man, I needed to learn how to relate to people and have conversations and communicate. Every single day, brother. That transformed me. And so I love to teach that principle, that if you come across a book, or you come across something that just really resonates, that you know has the power to transform your business or your life or any aspect, maybe it's marriage, like you come across a marriage book, you're like, this is it. This is my gospel.
Mm.
Then you read that thing day in and day out until it becomes automatic, until it becomes your way of being, and you live by those principles and practices.
Yeah, until they become a habit, till you don't even have to think about it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
When it's automated, you win.
totally. And that is a struggle most people have, is they get excited with the book, right? It's a new toy. They get new information, but they don't implement the information, right? That's the problem with all of these. Actually, it's not the problem with the books. The books are great.
It's a challenge.
It's not doing that, but that is an amazing tool to be able to do. Is like, if you find that book that you know that every time you read it you feel good, things start to change, keep reading it, like chop it up and keep reading little pages over and over again. It stays fresh in your mind. So that's a power move for mental toughness and mental resilience. Okay, let's go into leadership now.
If you don't mind, I'll share one more thing,
please.
I don't want to also like say that, just grab a couple of books and read those indefinitely. I've averaged a book a week for over 2.5 decades. A book a week for 25 years. I'm just pounding anything I can get my hands on. I listen to it now, right? With Audible. I listen to a lot of books. I read a lot of books. I'm never going to stop. I love reading. Books have changed my life. The smartest people that have ever lived are writing amazing books across time and space, from different cultures, different religions, different time periods. Like, we're just gleaning wisdom from all these sources. And then when you come across the ones that make your soul sing, read and reread those again and again until they become a part of you.
And when you read these books, like are you taking one thing from that book and kind of implementing it right away, or kind of seeing if there's like or maybe like you're reading the book and you see, oh, like, you know what, there's a void that this information that I just read from this book can kind of help me deal with right now. So are you constantly, like, yes, reading is great, but I'm assuming you're constantly like implementing. Not the whole book maybe, but one thing.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. You're exactly right. It's little pieces. It's pieces of the puzzle, and I'll come across some great classic and be like, oh, there it is. That's the piece. And plug it in. Nice. And I take notes. I love to write, so I spend time every single day writing. Even though I hated writing, I hated literature. I was a slow reader. Now I write and write and write. I'm just capturing my own ideas, and so I'm putting pieces of the puzzle together often through the books. And as you know, and people who are readers, what happens is you'll read 10 different books in 10 different genres, and they're teaching a similar principle in a different way. And so it's just another way to understand it and another reminder. You're like, oh yeah, I need to treat my wife like that. And then you read this fictional book. You're like, oh yeah, I need to treat my wife. And then the self-help book, like, you need this. And then you open the Bible and you're like, yep, there it is. Bam. And they're just reinforcing the same thing of like, you know what? I'm going to be a better husband. Yeah, it's so powerful.
The principles, the spiritual principles, the principles in general, all pretty much the same, right? Mm-hmm. If it comes down to it, if you look at all the principles and you read all of the literature or listen or what have you, they're really, like you said, saying the same things in different ways. So it's not like you have to learn everything. It's like, dude, just get really good at these principles in your life, and your whole life is going to continue to change and get better.
Absolutely.
Right. Okay, let's talk about leadership, because you help leaders, but we are all leaders, right? We're all leaders in our life. So how do we become leaders in our homes, in our communities?
No, I love how you said that, man. And I remember I really struggle with this, but because I didn't see myself as a leader, and I didn't identify, I didn't think of my own identity as a leader. And I think we do ourselves a disservice because we're always leading. And sometimes it's not always for good, but we are setting example. We're radiating. People are watching and noticing, especially those that are closest to us. And we're having an influence, whether we think we are or not, whether we like it or not, whether we want to or not. We can't escape that. So we're there. So let's embrace that. Like, no, I'm going to lead by example. What hit home for me, brother, I guess two things that were so powerful. Number one, I realized if I don't live the message, then I suck as the messenger. Like that just has to be the uncomfortable, honest truth.
Mm-hmm.
If I don't live the message, then I genuinely suck as the messenger. And you know, you wonder sometimes like, well, they don't listen to me. I'm like, well, you got to earn that. You got to earn that when you say something, when we live it and we live it well. And I mean that live it well. They're like, there's an art and a science to it. Even doing hard things like working out hard and grinding and like, let's go.
Yeah.
Even in the midst of that, if you do that well, people will be drawn to it. People will literally want to do hard things because they're watching you do it with a smile on your face. You're like, this kills and I love it. And they're like, what's this guy on? He's crazy. But you're leading them there. You're drawing them there. And so we have to live the message. The second piece, and this one was, it always hits home when I think about it. One day I asked myself, I said, what if my life were a silent film? And all the things I say are off. They're not there. And people are watching the film. Would it be obvious to viewers what's important to me? And what I say is important, is that obvious in my actions? Again, they can't hear me say it. They're just watching. And then you take it to the next level. It's like, would it hold up in court? Would it hold up in court? Somebody watching a silent film that Greg Denning loves his family more than anything else. That those people, his wife and his children, are the most important people in the world. And that he's here to really live and really make a difference. It's awesome, man. And it's sobering and it's fun. And like, that's leadership because I'm showing it.
Yeah.
Because results don't lie.
100%. 100%. You cannot, there's nothing you can say about that in regards to results. Like the proof is in the pudding, as they say. That's a nugget, man. That silent film is huge. I want to use that. Can I use that in some way? Like, I love that because it's so powerful that if your life was a silent film, would the people around you specifically, know what you're trying to say or teach, right? Is it this, but we're going to talk about this next. We're going to talk about health and fitness and where that fits in to the whole picture. But like, if you are talking this and doing the other thing, not doing the other thing, like, again, if it's health and fitness, you're saying, okay, you got to get in shape, you got to lose weight, whatever, but you're not living it, or at least attempting to, man, I can't even listen to you. Like, I don't understand how. Exactly. I can't even understand. My wife and I have this conversation all the time, because, the world's changing right now, right? Specifically in the fitness world. I also have a certification for trainers and coaches, and I speak at conferences for trainers and coaches. And the landscape from when I started back 20 years ago, even online as an online fitness guy, 2007, the landscape of the fitness experts, influencers, trainers, and coaches to today has completely, it's almost gone the opposite way. Wow. And I can't I shouldn't say this, but it's difficult for me to understand how someone who's extremely out of shape is teaching people to get in shape.
Right. Exactly.
But they're not really teaching people to get in shape. They're just teaching people to be like, oh, it's okay that you're here, right, and that you're where you're at, and this is what you are, and this is who we are, and this is good, but it's not, because your health is in danger. But it's like,
exactly.
It's like, but that's just one piece of the puzzle. It's just an example of like how we have to live it, right? We have to live it. Man, we have to live it as men, right? Mm-hmm. So fitness, where is that? I mean, you talk about, the gym. I mean, that was pretty much your home away from home.
Yep.
Back when you were younger, right?
Bro, that was my happy place.
Right?
In fact, for a long time, it was my only happy place. There was one period I'd go over early in the morning for 2 hours, and then in the afternoon I'd go for another 2 hours. I was like, I can be here. This is my place. Yeah. And I started to thrive, right? I put in the reps and put in the time, and I was able to, crank up the intensity knob, right? So it wasn't just there going through the motions. I was like, if I'm here, I'm going to be here all on.
Mm.
And so I started winning. It felt good. And I found my way around the gym. I'm like, okay, I'm comfortable here. And I started getting stronger and stronger. I'm like, I can keep up with some of the tough guys. And, I've never been the toughest guy in any gym, but like, I'm like, I like it here. I like it here.
Yeah.
And so, I was still doing 2 hours a day when I met my wife, and she was like, excuse me, where you been for the last 2 hours? I was like, babe, I was at the gym. Like, you're married now. I'm like, what?
Right.
But this is what I've always done. Like, no, like I need more time with you. I'm like, well, what am I supposed to do? I can't get a workout in less than 2 hours. This is my whole thing.
Yeah, totally.
And then of course the kids started to come along,
Right.
and at one point I remember like, okay, well, with a wife and all these little kids and 2 jobs, all these responsibilities, I guess I just won't be able to be healthy and fit.
That's what you
I remember thinking is one or the other. And I let it slide for a few weeks. And I was like, this is such a dumb idea. Like, no, man, that's a dumb excuse. Okay. Oh, and here's the other thing we haven't even got to yet. We started traveling right after my 4th daughter was born.
Yeah.
We started traveling. We literally loaded up our kids and we drove to Costa Rica, down the Pan American Highway through Mexico, Central America. And we started traveling, and then no more gym membership, and we're all over the world. And again, all these excuses like, I got all these little kids, we're traveling, I guess I can't be in shape. Bogus. You can get in shape anywhere, and you don't need all the fancy equipment. I just had to get creative. I'm like, okay, I'm going to put little kids on my back. I'm going to do air squats and push-ups till I vomit. And then, and then I'm going to go run through the jungle and then run on that beach. And then I'm taking my kids to the playground. I'm going to sit here and crank out chin-ups until I fall down while the kids are playing. Like, I'm not going to let myself go. And you know this, you teach this, like a strong body is a strong man and a strong mind, right? So the body leads to the mind and spirit. And if we want to be a formidable family, man, we have to be, because we have to be able to carry that load, all of it. And it all starts with making sure our vehicle is in phenomenal condition.
For sure. So yeah, you're traveling, you got kids, but you still got it done. Like different types of training, right? Different workouts, body weight sometimes, you're picking up your kids, but the other thing that's happening while you're traveling and while you're working out in whatever way you're doing it is your kids are seeing you do this, man. The kids are watching, and all of a sudden they're doing push-ups with you. They're doing pull-ups. Like, it's just, it's what dad's doing, so I'm doing it too. Yep. Oh, let me do the squats. Let me try to pick up my brother or sister and do the squats. Like, you don't even have to say anything. You're just doing it.
Nope. Don't have to say a single thing. And they were in it, and they grow up saying, oh, this is just what we do.
Right.
We get up in the morning and we work out hard. Right. So now, we live over here in Europe, and I got a, beautiful estate here and a big gym. We go out in the morning. My kids are just grinding and sweating and pushing. Boy, we're working out hard. And then we go do hard stuff, brother. We go climb. Like last year, all my teenagers summited Mount Kilimanjaro.
What?
Right? I mean, well, okay. A few of us got sick
right
near the top and didn't quite summit, but we all went up and climbed Kilimanjaro.
Still.
And there's summit, and like we do crazy hard things like that. We climbed Orizaba in Mexico. We'll go out and we'll do just like crazy humanitarian stuff too. And we will grind so that we can be assets and not liabilities. And we are pushing ourselves physically and mentally and emotionally and spiritually and socially, financially. We're pushing those limits, and it all starts with the physical fitness and leading your family into that.
And I think it must be amazing that you're all doing it together, right? Because when you have that tribe, like I teach tribes how to build a tribe, and you have your own tribe, and the fact that you're doing this together, all the time, no matter what, is just how empowering is that for not just you, but for your family.
Yeah. And we love it. We crazy love it. Because we deliberately created that culture and that relationship, that legacy. And so we push. And in fact, we came up, so my last name's Denning. So we came up with the letters DDHT. Dennings do hard things. And we say that. The little kids, even my littlest, be like, DDHT, we do hard things. My legs are burning while we're hiking up this hill. I'm like, you know what that means, sweetie? When your legs burning? She's like, yeah, Dad, I'm getting stronger. When it burns, it's because I'm getting stronger. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, right. I know,
Go.
right? That's like music to your ears when your kids are saying that. That's music to your ears when your kid's struggling and it's like, yeah, I'm still going. Oh, it hurts, but I'm
Getting
going. It's
stronger.
like, yeah, man, that's you are literally a formidable man in every which way possible, and just the way you've showed up for your kids and the way you show up for your family and the way you show up for the guys who you teach, right? Like, how do you unstick men who are stuck in their job, stuck in their body, stuck in life, stuck in blaming economy, blaming this person, blaming this, blaming their circumstances? Like, what is that one thing that you help people do to get them unstuck so they can see like a clear path to a purpose, or just a clear path? Because when people are stuck, it's like this, right? It's like
Yep.
can't see anything, you can't move anywhere, and you just kind of stay where you're at because
And
you're
total
afraid,
lack of
right?
clarity, like you're
Yeah.
saying. Yeah,
How do
total
you
lack of clarity.
what do you do? How do you do that? What are some of the things that you do?
The thing I do for the men I get to work with is the same thing I did with myself. Is I realized I had to address my fixed mindsets first. Like I had these beliefs that said, well, I can't do that. And those guys are lucky. I'm not that lucky. Things always work out this way for me, or this is the way I've always been. And it's those limiting beliefs and those fixed mindsets that's what keep us stuck every time. So the very first thing we have to do is we have to go in and find the fixed mindset and challenge it and go and say, hey, is that 100% true? Like you're always going to be fat? Like you can't lose the weight because you've done everything. You literally have done everything and you can't lose weight. And they're like, well, man, I guess not everything. Like, dang straight, you haven't hit everything. There are things you can do. And like, but I can't lose weight. You can't, or you haven't yet. Let's get this right. You can, and I can help you. And it's often we just don't know. We haven't been exposed to it. Like exposure is the most important thing, because if we have not been exposed to it, if we haven't seen it up close, then we don't quite know how to pull it off. Like, what are the details of this? And when we get exposed to somebody who has the tools and the strategies and can show us how to do it, you know this already, and you do it, it's way easier.
Totally.
Because you got the leverage now. You're like, oh man, I was doing this. It was so hard. So if we address that fixed mindset, those limiting beliefs about ourselves, I'll say this, brother. The number one thing I've seen across the board that's holding men back is their own limiting beliefs about themselves.
Yep.
Number one.
Agree.
And if we'll just challenge that, I did it again yesterday. Met with this guy. I challenged his belief. He told me, he's like, well, this is the way things are. This is where they've always been. This is where I'm at. I'm like, may I gently challenge that? May I stop you right there? Is there any possible way through that? And he sat there like, whoa, man, maybe. And he was texting me. It's like, I think I can do this. I'm like, of course you can. Let's go. And you start creating those breakthroughs, and then you get momentum, and you start moving and start creating results across your whole life.
Let's talk about the importance of asking for help, because I just want to segue right into that, because you just said yesterday you helped somebody, but guys, men, they don't like asking for help. The limiting beliefs. So the limiting beliefs, like asking for help, asking another man they'd rather ask another woman for help than they would another man for help, because they feel like that's weakness. Talk to me about that, because you just said that when you help that guy, literally it's like, oh my God.
It was a breakthrough,
right?
Immediate breakthrough. Bam.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so powerful.
Talk to me about
I chuckle because I can relate, man. And I remember being that guy. It's like, you kidding me? Ask for directions? Nah, man, I'll drive around. I get lost ask for help. And I don't know why it's so silly. And when we stop and think about it, I love doing this. When we take our beliefs, we take those statements, we have to say them out loud. Because what it does is it sets it on the table, and then we get to look at it, and we're like, that is the dumbest thing I believe. How can I believe that's so dumb? Because by not asking for help, you stop and say, well, what does that mean you don't ask for help? And if you think asking for help is a sign of weakness, what does that mean? Well, it means I think I know everything. And so you're like, say that out loud. You know everything? And so if you have to ask for help, that means you're weak. That's like the dumbest, that's the dumbest thing ever. And when I was like, of course I need help. In fact, I want to surround myself with people who are better than me. And when I got to that point of humility and openness, bro, I started lifting weights with guys that were way stronger than me. I started running with guys that were way faster. I started playing ball with guys that just smoked me again and again and again. I got into jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai and Krav Maga with people that just worked me. It was humbling. And I'm like, where do I want to be? I want to be with people who are smarter, faster, better, richer than me. And while I'm there, I'm like, teach me. Show me how to do that.
Yeah.
What am I doing? Okay, help me here. How can I do this better? Where am I making mistakes? Point them out. Show me my flaws, brother. And that is real growth and progress right there.
That's strength for sure. Like for me, I guess because as an athlete, because you have coaches, right? So
Right.
you're always asking for help, specifically if you're an athlete who wants to be the best, which is what I always was. So I was always, listening and asking for help, and then, surrounding myself with the best players, and, went to the junior national team. Cause now, okay, I'm great at my high school, but like, okay, this is high school. I can kill anyone in high school. Let's go to provincial team. Oh shit. Okay. I want to be the best in the provincial. Oh, let's go to junior national. Oh, okay. Let's go play professional. Okay. Now let's train. Where we're training, we could train with so many people. I played beach volleyball and indoor volleyball. So on beach volleyball, it's 2-on-2. Yeah. I played in the AVP. I played. Yeah. Okay. Did you really?
Yeah. And I played on our junior Olympic team. I had a sand volleyball court in Texas. I played on the junior Olympic team in Texas. We travel all over playing ball. I love volleyball.
I played against Kurch Karai, Mike Dodd, all those guys. I played
nice.
Sinjin Smith, like all those. And then we had a tour here in Canada. So we had our own pro tour because John and Mark got a bronze at the Olympics. So that blew up beach volleyball here in Canada. And then of course I played overseas. So
those guys were all my heroes, man.
Yeah, not right? Incredible. Like playing against them and getting crushed by them all the time. But being able to train, like when you're training, you can, like, it's 2-on-2, and it's, it's one of those sports where you're just training with the players you're playing against, specifically if you live in the same area, right? And so you have a choice. You could train with just the guys who you're going to kill all the time, or you could train with the Olympians who won a bronze medal. And it's like, all right, well, we know we're going to get killed. We know that we're going to learn so much, right? And so it's like my whole life has been, geared towards going to the best and training with the best and getting humbled over and over again. And then I went to Thailand, and like years after, in my late 30s, and went to Thailand to train Muay Thai for a month at Tiger Muay Thai. Then I came back and fought in Thailand. But that whole month training in Tiger Muay Thai was hell. And then coming back and training at a gym here where everyone kind of knew who Funk Roberts was. So you have these 3 guys in the gym who just want to destroy me every single time, like want to beat the shit out of me. And so by the end of the 8 months before I went to go, after taking 8 months of getting beat, that respect of like, dude, you showed up every single training session, took a beat down every single training session. Now you're much better. But the point is like asking for help. Okay, what did I do? I was probably annoying. I'm very annoying when it comes to asking people for help, because I'm not afraid to ask anybody for help, right? Okay, hey, if something's broken in the house, I'm not Mr. Fix It. I'm not going to pretend to be Mr. Fix It. So I'm calling TaskRabbit. Hey man, come by and just fix this up. I got other things I'm doing right now. I got things I'm doing that I need to focus on, as opposed to spending time on that. Can I do it? Sure, but I don't want to waste time doing it. I'd rather have a professional, someone who knows what to do. And yeah, maybe I'll ask questions and okay, so next time that happens, that's what I do. Perfect. Like I will ask everybody everything, but mostly implementing, right?
Same.
And that's what I don't understand about people. Sorry, I came all the way to say, and the same thing. It's like, man, what is it with guys that they don't want to ask for help when someone has the solution? You have the solution to making powerful men who are going to grow in their life, grow in their wealth, grow in their business, grow in their family, grow with their relationships. Like, you've done it, you have the solution, and there's millions of men out there who are struggling. And it's insane They'll talk to you probably. I'm sure you've had these conversations. Yeah, like, oh yeah, this is what you do. This is what you do. Okay, yeah, you know what? I'll think about it. It's like,
Yeah.
what do you mean you'll think about it? What the hell? What is happening here?
Exactly.
What do you have
Yep.
to think about?
Yeah.
Right? I don't know. I'm just
No, 100%. 100%. It's like, no, you're done thinking. You've been thinking.
yeah, right.
And look where thinking got you.
Yeah,
It is time for action. No more talk, no more thinking. Like, let's do the things to get the results you want.
yeah. It's crazy, but it's. I think that's what we need to do as leaders in whatever we're leading. We have to make it okay to ask for help. Let them know that it's okay. I'm in recovery because I used to be an addict many years ago. So I'm in recovery now. I'm a recovering addict, and seeing all these addicts coming from the streets, right? I'm laughing right now because it's like I remember when I came in, right? It's like, God, looking at everybody in this freaking room. There's no way I would be friends with anybody. Look at the fucking drugs of society. It's like, this is disgusting. Meanwhile, they know my story because they've all lived the same stories, right? So now you become closer to them, but you still find that there's people who just don't want to ask for help, but they're the same ones relapsing every week or every month, right? They're the same ones coming back. Like, it's like, dude, just freaking get a sponsor. I'll help you, man. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, like stop. It's just so frustrating. And I think we just need to help make that okay. I think with the change the narrative of, right? It's okay to ask for help.
100%.
That's the strength. The strength comes
Not only is it okay, it's the strength.
Yeah.
It is the way.
It is the way.
Yeah.
Let's end off this with legacy, because you started this off talking about legacy, leaving a legacy, right? I'm on that same wavelength, but what does that mean to you? What does leaving a legacy to you mean, and how do you teach that?
So I started asking about this was years ago when my kids were little. It's like, how are they going to remember me at each stage? This time in our life, how will they remember this? How will they remember me? How will my wife remember the first 5 years of our marriage, and the 25 years, and every stage, every space, every time? How do I want to be remembered? And it's not in a selfish way. It's not an egotistical way. It's like, you will be remembered. They'll think about you, but what reputation do we want to build? What legacy do we want to live? And I want to leave something that outlives me. I want to be a great force for good in the world. And the most important place to do that is in my own family, my marriage and my kids. And so I want to, and I've spent a lot of time, and I guess this is the invitation, spend a lot of time thinking and writing about this. Like, what is it you want to do? And how do you want to live life? And what do you want to pass on? Because you are 100%, you're passing things on. You can't not. And so what am I going to pass on? I have to be more deliberate, more strategic about it, more thoughtful, because otherwise I just pass on by default. And whatever gets passed on by default probably isn't going to be awesome. Probably isn't going to be remarkable and what you want. So I got really clear, really, really clear about the caliber of man I want to be. And I want to be a genuine, formidable family man.
Mm-hmm.
And that wherever I go, whatever I do, how I live, I want to motivate and inspire people. I want to give back because people were that for me. They set an example for me. There was a role model for me. They reached out and helped for me, and they just a little glimpse of hope. And I'm like, that, I got to pay that forward. I got to be that example for other people. And when you start thinking about, who am I as my very best self, and how do I want to show up in the world, that starts to craft that legacy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just build it into my life, so it becomes a habit. Really what I came up with, and I came up with this formula that I get to teach, but it's essentially domination through optimization. I can just absolutely dominate all the aspects of my life through optimization. So domination through optimization. So it's whole life or holistic optimization. Like, I'm getting all important pieces, all my important roles. I optimize them so that I'm functioning at a high caliber level most of the time.
I love that. Domination by domination by optimization. Dude, you got so many t-shirts that you need to make. What the hell is going on here? I want all those. I want all those t-shirts. There's nothing. The DDHT, your whole family should be wearing DDHT t-shirts. What is happening
Exactly.
here? And then the grandkids wear it, and the grandkids wear it. The
That's
DDHT
right.
t-shirt, buddy. That's
Woo.
incredible. Man, this has been amazing. Having you on this podcast, having you on the show. I really truly appreciate you being here. What last words? We'll finish off with the last words that you want to leave for the listeners, and then we'll talk about how people can reach you and what you have going on. So what are the last things that you want people listening right now, men listening right now? What would you tell them?
I guess one of the things that has made my life so rich and so rewarding and so memorable is just going all in. I just full send, lean in, just go. I'm kind of a ready, fire, aim kind of guy. I send it and I'm like, let's figure this out, because I'm just going. And man, we've been able to live the most epic adventures, like stuff that I wouldn't believe if I hadn't lived it. It's like, that's just straight crazy awesome. We really are squeezing the juice out of life. and I love it. So anything that's important to you, lean all the way in. Say no to everything else. Like that one's huge. Gentlemen, say no to anything that's not part of your legacy. If it's not adding real value to your highest priorities, just get it out of your life. You'll be so much happier without it. And then lean into the things that matter most all the way. Don't hesitate. Don't keep one leg out, like, whatever. Just all the way into the things that matter. And man, it makes life amazing, brother.
Hear, hear, my man. Hear, hear. Well, thank you so much for being on the podcast. Where can people reach you? What do you got going on? I know you got a couple of programs, so talk to us about that. Where can people reach you?
Those of you who are obvious podcast listeners, my wife and I co-host a podcast called the Extraordinary Family Life Podcast. It's love that. And then I have one called the Formidable Family Man Podcast. Of course, I'm on Instagram and Facebook, Greg.Denning. And I have a tribe of formidable family men. We meet a couple times a week, and we're just hitting all things fitness, family, and finances. Right? It's the holistic optimization. And I'm here to help, man. I wake up every day excited that I get to do this work. It's part of my life's mission,
And
to
that's
help men be the very best version of themselves.
and that formidable family, the finance, fitness, and
Family. Yep.
family is at gregdenning.com, correct?
Yep.
Okay, gregdenning.com.
Or formidablefamilyman.com. Yep.